that we have from all the 10 provinces of Zambia. Want to look at Zambia's 2021 poll outcome? What does it mean for Africa? And to help me discuss or answer to what it means to Africa, the outcome of the elections that we saw, the Electoral Commission of Zambia declaring the opposition presidential candidate who stood on the UPND alliance in the name of Hakainde Hichilema emerging victorious with over 900,000 votes difference with his closest rival, the incumbent of the Patriotic Front, the outgoing president Edgar Chagwa Lungu. My guest tonight is Robert Kyagulanyi Ssentamu, who is also known as Bobiwine, who is a politician and who was also a presidential candidate in the elections that were held in Uganda that saw the incumbent Museveni emerging victorious. Robert Kyagulanyi Ssentamu, Bobiwine, Mr. President, good evening and welcome to the assignment.
Good evening, my brother, and thank you for having me. Allow me, with all my happiness, to congratulate the people of Zambia. I want to congratulate President Hichilema, also known as HH, but most importantly, to congratulate President Lungu for giving such a simple and yet honorable deed, conceding defeat and peacefully agreeing to hand over power. That is a big precedent in Africa, and to congratulate the people of Zambia, and I want to congratulate Africa. That is a great precedent. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen.
Thank you so much. That is Robert Kyagulanyi Ssentamu, who is also known by the stage name Bobiwine. Bobby, on a light note, could you kindly tell us the city in which you are, televising from?
Well, talking to you from my home in Magere, on the outskirts of Kampala. It's in Chadondo East constituency, which I represented for 3 years as a member of parliament before I ran for president and won, although I was not announced. But we shall discuss that later.
Thank you so much. You've been following the elections in Zambia. Like I've said, on Thursday, which was the 12th of August, Zambians went to the polls. The elections saw 16 presidential candidates, all of them standing with one woman in the name of Chishalaka Teka, standing as a presidential candidate. At the end of the day, we only have one winner. How would you describe 16 people in a country that has got 18 million plus standing, all of them wanting to take over as a president of the republic? How would you describe 16 of them standing in an election?
Well, it was interesting to follow, although in Zambia the candidates were slightly more than in Uganda, which had 10. However, from the Ugandan point of view, we were looking at largely a 2-horse race, and that is the incumbent President Lungu, and now the president-elect, President HH or Hichilema. It was a contested one. It was very uncertain because, like I said in the past, Africa has been known for incumbents that live to cede power, that refuse to listen to the voice of the people. And it's for that reason that I continue to congratulate President Lungu for listening to the voice of the people. However, it was not the usual expectation, and I'm very glad that Zambia has set such a noble precedent in Uganda, and I believe in many parts of Africa and the world. They were expecting post-election violence. We were nervous. We didn't know what to expect. This that is happening in Zambia is what all Africans hoped for, to see a peaceful transition of power, to see an election that is carried out no matter the isolated areas of contradiction, to see that finally there is going to be a peaceful settlement. This is something we celebrate as Africa.
You've talked about violence, and you've been following, and you said you at one point you are thinking that we are going to see post-election violence. But violence was witnessed during campaigns, which also made the Electoral Commission of Zambia suspending two, political parties, the outgoing Patriotic Front and the incoming, United Party for National Development. How would you describe the issue of political violence and how it was, resolved in this country?
We have always been singing against violence, telling the world that election violence is a symbol of backwardness, it's a symbol of not respecting the majority voices, but most importantly, not respecting the principles that we lay on the table to follow, the guidelines and the rules. However, like I said, the violence that took place in the election period in Zambia is nothing to compare to the violence in Uganda. While we had, people killed in Zambia, I would, hesitate to compare it to a situation in Uganda where in only 2 days, that is the 18th and 19th, more than 100 people were shot dead by state agents. I continue to applaud Zambia and its institutions. It is rare to see the Electoral Commission appointed by an incumbent stand by the values of the institution and executing its constitutional mandate. The courts in Zambia, for respecting the constitution and operating within the confines of the law, while it is achieved in Zambia, it is longed for in many parts of Africa, most importantly in Uganda, where I come from, where the incumbent took over the Electoral Commission and the courts of law and is largely ruling by the barrel of the gun. But to see what's happening in Zambia is something not to take for granted, and they encourage the people of Zambia to remember that this they did not get on a silver platter. This they struggled for. Normally in life, people get what they deserve and they get the leaders they deserve. They should know that power is in their hand and they should safeguard that democracy. It has taken steps. We salute the fathers and grandfathers of Africa, and among them is the noble late Kenneth Kaunda, who laid a precedent. I mean, here in Uganda we discuss that usually it is what is done by the predecessors that sets precedent. By President Kaunda losing an election and handing power peacefully, laid a precedent that no other person can pretend to be above the voices of the people. So I continue to congratulate you, the people of Zambia, congratulate Africa, but call on us to safeguard that, because democracy is always a small one step away from extinction.
Now, Mr. President Bobby, you've talked about violence and how it was witnessed in Uganda, and you've talked about that number of people who lost their lives. Why do you think Africans have continued, whenever an African country is going to the polls, issues of political violence continue to show or manifest and showing its ugly face? What do you think, you African politicians have continued to embrace political violence? How does it benefit African leaders?
I wouldn't really want to characterize electoral violence as an African thing. It is not African. It is just hypocritical. It is just indecent. It has happened in many countries. It happened in Chile. It happened in all the developed countries. It's a step, but it is not only wished away. It is fought away. It is washed away. It is worked away. And we see the countries that have not given up getting it. So it's not an African thing. However, like I said usually, that many institutions, even bigger institutions like the African Union, the East African Community, and other organs, the other organizations, they need to always be watched, called to order, and supervised by the people themselves, or else they risk becoming rulers' clubs. I'm yet to see a number of sitting presidents congratulate the president-elect of Zimbabwe. Of Zambia. usually Zimbabwe comes to my mind, and I also want to encourage the people of Zimbabwe to know that what is happening in Zambia can happen in Zimbabwe, in Uganda, and in many other countries in Africa that long for it. This, just like Kenneth Kaunda gave it to Zambia, Mugabe could have given it to Zimbabwe. Museveni or Idi Amin could have given it to Uganda. Gaddafi could have given it to Libya, to see that the people are bigger than these rulers. So here in Africa, we the Africans now must look in ourselves and realize that it is not only about the oppressive leaders, it is not only about the undemocratic leaders, but it's about we the people as well. If the people of Zambia didn't stand their ground, maybe they would be where we are. But you are at the level of democracy where you are because you worked for it, or because your ancestors worked for it, your forebearers worked for it. Your duty is to defend it and to strengthen it even more.
Bobby, you've, in your preamble, congratulated the outgoing president for conceding defeat. And you've also, in your preamble, mentioned the issue that you were focusing or monitoring the happenings in Zambia because you were thinking that maybe we are going to see post-election violence. But Zambians have said we saw the smooth transitioning of power in 1991 when the sitting president was defeated by the opposition. We didn't see violence. Power was handed over smoothly. Also in 2011, the ruling party also back then, the MMD, lost power to the opposition. Also, the sitting head of state conceded defeat and handed over power. And people are saying with 2021, it ought to be the same. Were you thinking that maybe the incumbent in the name of President Edgar Lungu was going to refuse to hand over power?
Well, we have seen so many cases. In Uganda, for example, it was not war between we, the people of Uganda, and the colonialists. No, it was peaceful transition. Our people celebrated, they jubilated. They thought that it is always going to be like that if it did not cost the shedding of blood of people when we are taking power from the colonizers. It was thought that it would be the same. Unfortunately, like I said earlier, that democracy is always one short step away from extinction, and that is why it must be guarded very jealously. It is not anything to take for granted. It is not at all anything to take for granted. Some leaders are actually voted into power peacefully, but they find it problematic to see the power peacefully. And that is why I continue to remind the people of Zambia that this is not a favor. You deserved this, and you should stand and hold your leaders accountable. That is how you're going to make them benefit you. That is how you're going to assert the people power, the power of the people. Always reminding the leaders that you are the ones that elevate them, and indeed you hold the power to put them aside and put other leaders. That is what keeps the leaders' feet on the fire and helping them deliver to their promises.
In moving forward, with what happened in your country, different people from different countries were calling on the African Union and other regional bodies to join hands and also talk about how you were treated during campaigns. And even in Zambia, we saw the opposition being stopped not to be doing physical campaigns. Well, they talked about the incumbent and the ruling party. They are freely holding campaigns and rallies. How would you describe the existence and also the voice that the African Union and other regional bodies have to say whenever a country is having elections in Africa?
Well, unfortunately, I don't have very many beautiful words for the regional organizations like the East African Community on this side of Africa or the African Union. Like I said much earlier, they largely come off as rulers groups, as rulers clubs that only help to maintain the power of each other and not minding about the people of Africa. Because if that was the case, In 1994, it should have been the African Union to help and stop the genocide. That wasn't the case. If that was the case, then in 2020, when people were massacred by the government of Uganda, led by General Museveni and his son, General Muhoozi, African Union could have risen to the occasion. It is very unfortunate that sometimes for example, myself and our party, we had to take General Museveni to the International Criminal Court, the ICC, because we were not being assisted by the regional and continental bodies. I call upon the African Union, but anyway, I want most importantly to call upon Africans to hold this organization accountable. It depends. In life, you get what you demand for. You don't only get what you deserve. It can very easily pass you. So the African Union and all other regional bodies that bring Africa together, all the bloc organizations, should really look into it and know that they are institutions serving the people and not those that are in power at the time.
Do you think Africa is ready to continue having these regional bodies where you've lamented and you've said you don't have any kind words for them? Do you see their relevance?
Well, when the house is dirty, you don't break down the house. You clean the house. These organizations were started with good ideas. These ideas that the great Kwame Nkrumah had, these ideas that were shared by our great elders, were ideas that were meant to make life better for the future generations. We are those generations that were being prepared for. So it was documented. We know the values for which these organizations stand for. It's a question of retracting our steps and do the right thing. It was documented. It was promised. Let it only be accomplished and fulfilled.
Bobby, the president-elect, in the name of Hakainde Hichilema, and you've called him HH like he's called, will be sworn in on Tuesday next week. Do we see your presence? Do we see you coming to Africa or to Zambia and be part of the people that will be witnessing the handover of power and also the celebration?
Well, that shouldn't have been a question. That should have been an answer, but it should have come with a question from you asking me whether I received my invitation. However, it would be an absolute pleasure and honor to witness what the people of Uganda wish for, what the people of many countries in Africa wish for. Once again, congratulations, President Hichilema. Congratulations, President Lungu. Congratulations, the people of Zambia, and congratulations, Africa. I would be glad to be with you and clap and celebrate on that monumental day.
Do we see you, as we conclude, Bobiwine, Robert Kyagulanyi, are you still having those ambitions of becoming a president and at one time leading the people of Uganda? Or maybe you don't have any ambitions of becoming a president of Uganda?
My major dream is not just becoming president of Uganda. My major dream is to see Uganda free, but most importantly, Uganda democratic. I want to see a peaceful transition of power in my lifetime. I have never seen it. Uganda has never seen that. We have been independent since 1962. We have never seen one president stepping down and another taking over. We have never had a former president. I want to see all those things that many countries are taking for granted. I want to see them in my country. And that is what I struggle for every day. For now, we are struggling to remove a dictator, to remove a general who has been ruling Ugandans on the barrel of the gun for the last 36 years. We hope to get that by the grace of God.
Bobby, we have seen the elections that we've had in Zambia, like the 2021 elections. We saw some opposition political parties coming together to form an alliance, working together to remove the party that has been in power. Do we see political parties in Uganda in the coming elections coming together to emulate what has happened in Zambia? And if you've tried before, what has been the major problem of you politicians in Uganda coming together to form a united force so that you remove General Museveni?
Well, like I said, the Zambian election has in many ways been a precedent and a big lesson to many of us here in Africa. Now it is clear that even when we have just been preaching it as the National Unity Platform, preaching the United Forces of Change, it is now a practical lesson that has been given to many comrades in the struggle. And we hope that this lesson will be emulated and taken serious. It has been tried before, it has not succeeded, but we don't give up. And like I said, this has been a big inspiration, and I hope that inspiration, happens as a reality one day in Uganda in the near future.
President Bobiwine, what are some of your expectations that you want to see the president-elect, implementing for the people of Zambia?
My desire is to see President HH live by his word. I really would love to see President HH become even more humble. I know he's a very successful yet very humble man. I hope he continues to see that people power is stronger than people in power. I hope he continues to respect the voice of the people. And like he's been challenged by President Lungu, I'm sure that by the end of his mandate of the people, from the people of Zambia, he will continue to respect that and continue to be another beckoning of transformation in Africa. He should know that we hold him in very high regard. We respect what has happened in Zambia, and he should continue to be a beckoning of democracy in Africa.
We have seen former heads of state in Africa, after losing power, they have been followed to answer to the crimes that they have been committing or they had committed whilst in office. What is your reaction to that, that African leaders, when they lose power, then charges follow them next? How can we avoid such? Should we now start preaching of when one assumes office, you need to forget and forgive about all the crimes that one might have committed whilst in office?
For starters, I want the world to know that when one becomes president, one does not necessarily become the law. The law is still the law, and justice is still justice. If that's the case, then it will encourage many people that get into power to commit atrocities against vulnerable citizens, thinking that they will not be held accountable. I want it to be known that leaders should be held accountable during their tenure and after their tenure if they abuse the rights of the people, if they do any wrong, if they engage in any acts of corruption. I, however, call upon the president-elect and all others that always take power to remember that getting into power is not chance. It should not be an opportunity for them to revenge or settle scores. Power is bigger than themselves, and they are being challenged to even be better people than the ones they take over from. Michelle Obama teaches us that when they go low, you go high. So I would love us to live in a way that not an eye is answered by an eye, but to say that in victory we are magnanimous and build bridges instead of building walls.
President Bobby, can you give us your concluding remarks for the people of Zambia and the people that are watching all over Africa and the people of Uganda, and also hoping that the Zambian government gives you an invitation so that you come to Zambia? Your concluding remarks.
Thank you very much. My concluding remarks, like my opening remarks, were congratulatory remarks to the people of Zambia. Congratulations. We are proud of you. In fact, we envy you. It's amazing. Africa now has a spotlight on Zambia, and we are being proud to be Africans. We are not uncivilized. You have proved how civilized we are as Africa. regardless of the few glitches here and there. I want to once again congratulate President HH and congratulate President Lungu. Thank you for respecting the voices of the people. I hope that Zambia will continue to benefit from the experience and the good talents of President Lungu as a resident former president. And also, I would encourage even those that competed against President HH to come up for the good of Zambia, for the good of Africa, to help him build dreams. It's not a competition now anymore. It should be a team of rivals to say that all they do and all that they sanction, all they think about is for the benefit of the people of Zambia and Africa. And thank you very much, and pray for the people of Uganda as well. We want to be where you are. We want to be as human as you are. We want to be as proud as you are. What you have is what we are longing for. So don't take it for granted, because where you are is where we dream to be. Thank you very much, and greetings and love from Uganda.
Thank you so much. That is Robert Kyagulanyi Ssentamu, a Ugandan politician, talking about Zambia's 2021 poll outcome. What does it mean for Africa? Don't go away. On the other side, we take a short break. On the other side, I'm joined by Aaron Ngambi, a political expert, a political analyst, talking to discuss the 2021 outcome as well as the words from Bobiwine.
TV.